Hi everyone, I'm Brandon.
I'm Kate, and welcome to episode 2 of Just the Two of Us. We are playing a homebrew mix of Monster of the Week and a beta system called Lasers and Liches created by Chris Locke.
We are aware of some of the audio issues in the first episode. We're still learning and growing as producers and producing our own stuff, so thank you for sticking with us as we fight off those solar flares, background radiations, and a possible space ghost. Who knows? Either way, let's get ready to take a spacewalk with just the two of us.
Transmission start. Last time on Just the Two of Us, we met Alec, a cybernetic creature who is currently working for the Astral Transport Company as a taxi driver. We learned a little bit about him, a little bit about his co-workers, and he was able to go through his daily tasks of ferrying people back and forth. Came across a fun little digital cafe where he tried toast for the very first time.
I had toast!
And at the very end of his shift, he was able to get a very specific and slightly shady individual by the name of Roderick Flash, a chrome dragonborn who was carrying a very oddly shaped briefcase that you were designated to pick up without a moment's hesitation. There was very strict instructions that you were to be absolutely pinpoint on time. You brought him back to the headquarters of the Astral Transport Company, and as he was waiting for the bus and causing a bit of a ruckus with Tony, your boss, there was a huge explosion, a huge crash that was heard. Metal and rocks and rubble were thrown and strewn about all over the place. And you and Roderick both booked it to the garage. He said you were going to be taking him to where he needed to go. And as you were approaching Betty, your ship, there was another rumble and shake and a huge explosion off to the side of the garage. And coming out of that garage, chewing on wires and bits of metal, was a massive worm-like creature of various shades of purple. Had tentacles all around its mouth that contained 5 different sets of teeth, 4 blue eyes that adorned the top of the head, as well as 3 fins on either side, varying from shades of yellow, blues to greens. There were red spikes all along its face and down its worm-like back as it roared out, and we rolled initiative. So go for it, roll that initiative.
So we're going to do a little bit of different stuff here for combat as well as initiative. So we are going to stick with the standard D20 roll for initiative.
Yes.
And for any action in combat. So attacking action in combat is a D20. Any maneuvers or anything else is going to be that D6 system from that kind of monster of the week that we will be doing. Just as a heads up. For our players at home.
All right.
So it's a 15 on my initiative.
Oh, okay.
That's without any bonuses. Technically, he would get a +2 for his stats. So 17.
+2. Do me a favor and just roll a d6 for me. Oh, that's a d1.
That's a 1.
That's a 1. What's this?
I always like it when the DM's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to roll some stuff. Just hang out for a little bit. And don't worry about all these rolls that are happening that'll probably lead to your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
There's no betrayal here. Okay, so this massive creature has just busted through the side of the garage where all of the different ships are held. 2 of the ships that have just been sitting idly by go flying off to the side, and it roars out with all of these different wires and sparks kind of surrounding it as it's munching on some of the metal that was part of the entire wall of the garage. You do not go first.
Of course not.
You rolled pretty high, but so did everyone else. Instead, as you were approaching Betty, you had not officially reached Betty yet. Roderick grabs his suitcase and hugs it to himself and looks to you and says, "We gotta get out of here," and makes a beeline for your ship. He recognizes it from when you picked him up earlier. So he's making a beeline for it. You're probably about 30 feet away from the actual ship itself, so he's able to at least make it to your ship within that one movement. Next is the alien monster's turn that has arrived unexpectedly. It doesn't quite understand what's fully going on. It doesn't necessarily identify you specifically yet. It seems to just be like wildly thrashing back and forth. And it is going to open its weird mouth, and all the tentacles are just going to go flying everywhere, waving hands in the air. And it is like he just doesn't care. And he's going to open his mouth wide so you can see very well all of those extremely sharp and jagged teeth. And it is going to do a screm.
I would say that it would be tentacular.
It would be tentacular. It's going to do one big screm. So what I'm going to need you to do is a... wisdom saving throw.
That's my 6s, right?
Yep, so you're going to do both of your... I did adjust... So here's another thing for everyone watching at home. I did adjust the actual...
fail, save.
The different sections of what qualifies as a save, or a fail, a mixed success, and a success. Just because I had not taken account all of the pluses that it would make it so very easy for Alec. So I did extend that just a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. It's all just a learning process.
Oh, buddy. Now that we said that, I thought it was too easy for Alec. Rolled a 2 and a 1, so that's a 3. And you said this was wisdom?
Wisdom, yes.
That's only a +1, so that's only a 4 total, so I'm pretty sure I failed.
That is a failure, yes.
Yikes.
So you are going to take... I should have picked out these dice before we started the session, but it's fine. I've got it right here. D4s are the hardest to grab. Oh, Lord. You have your HP and everything, right? So when you're level 1, it's the max on the die plus your Constitution modifier.
Gotcha. So I've got a total of 10 hit points, everyone.
10 hit points. Well, you can subtract 4
Yikes!
from that as this massive I say earth-shattering, but we're in space. You know, planet-shattering. Let's be a little bit more inclusive here with the planets. So a planet-shattering scream as you take 4 psychic damage. The reverberations of this scream just penetrate right into, like, even your cybernetic mind. It's less about affecting your mind specifically, but it's causing a lot of the internal structure of yourself to almost like short out a little bit.
I was going to say, I would almost imagine it's kind of like a static on the screen kind of thing, where he possibly like sees the glitches and the different things that are kind of awakening in his system. So it's a fuzzy picture.
Yep, absolutely.
No, for that, he probably blacks out for half a second and comes back.
Let me actually do it for Roderick as well. Oh, I'm sorry, this is 2d6. Lord, we'll get used to this system eventually. I understand. I want to use different dice. Okay, so you can see that he does hunker down and cover his ears, but he doesn't seem as affected as you were with that issue. But that's going to end his turn. Alec.
Let's go, friend! And he's running, just booking it. Dash action to get to the ship.
To the ship?
Yeah,
okay,
there's really not much else he can do. If he's going to try to maybe... Roderick's already at the ship, so he's going to get in there and as far into the ship as he can get to try to get to the control panels, get booted up, get going, and get Joe ready to go. And then if he has any like movement or bonus actions or anything that he could do left, he's going to reach over to think of like a glove compartment and open that and grab his what would be the equivalent of a blaster.
Little standard.
It's a water pistol, basically. You know, it's nothing great. It's a standard issue security device, but it's something.
It is certainly something.
It's the only defenses he has. So
so if you're taking your full action in order to run, you would definitely be able to swing open the doors, get everyone inside, definitely be able to get into the navigation center, be able to sit down and get things ready. Joe is turned on. He's ready to, help you out in any way that he needs to. But that's pretty much going to be your turn. And you have armed yourself, so if you need to, be ready for that as well. Why don't you, since you really just used movement and your action for movement, why don't you go ahead and make another wisdom check for me.
Solid. So 6 and a 2 plus my wisdom will give it another 1. So that's only 9 total.
That's 9? Okay. You notice that Roderick is pressing himself like as far away from, like all the way against the wall of your ship. You can't 100% see what he's doing. You're focusing on trying to like get Betty turned on and everything like that.
Absolutely. I don't really care. I'm just trying to get out of here with him, I guess. But
you basically just assume that he's terrified and is trying to keep as far away as possible.
Yep.
All right, very cool. That is going to bring us, so technically that was Roderick's turn. He's not really doing too much. He can't really do very much right now. He's just a dude. So that is going to bring us to, I'm just going to do a couple more rolls here. All right. And, oof. All right, very cool. So as you're looking out the windshield, I forgot what that was called for a second. You are able to hear, even within the ship, you hear almost like the speaker system come on, an automatic speaker system that says defense system activated. And you see 2 massive panels in the sides of the garage slowly pull up. And within those 2 panels, you never knew that those were there. As far as you are aware, that was just part of the wall. You have never seen these open up before. And extending out from those panels are 2 massive, what you could only assume are some kind of automatic defense system, like ship wrecking guns that come out of the sides of the garage. One on either side. They kind of slowly eject out, and they get what it looks like locked and loaded there. You can actually see that there are seats within those blaster areas and what looks like a little control panel.
Sure.
But they look like something that could take out a full ship if necessary. And that's going to be that. Which brings us to the monster. The alien monster. The alien monster is going to... Let's find out. Oof. The alien monster is going to look directly towards your ship, going to look directly at Betty, and is going to start rapidly slithering its way up to you. And it is going to try to make one bite attack against Betty the ship. Oh, we're doing this. I forgot. My apologies. So here's a thing that I definitely forgot about, which was creating your ship.
Yeah.
So for your ship specifically, let me see if I have this set up. I do not. So go ahead and roll 4d6 for me.
That's 10 and 11, so total of 21.
Total of 21.
Yeah.
So if you would write down, that's 21 is going to be your ship's AC. Except we're not going to be labeling it as the AC. It is going to be your shield, technically. So you actually have a pretty good...
It's one away
shield.
from max, yeah.
So this massive creature comes barreling towards you, and it opens its jaws in order to try to consume Betty. And you see that Joe actually flickers on, and he goes into almost like this red aura around him, and says, "Oh no, defense system's up." And a shield that you've never seen before around Betty, because you've never had to use it. Didn't even know that was built in as part of the system. you see this very kind of blood orange kind of shield suddenly wrap around the entire shield, or entire ship rather, and you see the teeth, all sets of the teeth just kind of gnawing on this shield of this ship. So you are safe for the moment, which is very good for you. Which brings us to your turn.
I'm just getting out of here. I just, as much as possible, just hitting the gas. Joe, let's go! Let's go!
Okay. So the monster is currently directly on top of you. You don't really have a lot of room to move right now. So how would you like to handle the situation?
Is there like a pulse or like an electric anything? I mean, I know he's on me, but is there any like thing I can do? I would ask Joe, like, can you pulse it? Can you shock it? Anything else in these defense systems that I didn't even know existed? What can we do?
I only have access to a shield. I have not been upgraded to receive any sort of...
Great, hit the thrusters as hard as you can and let's go!
Okay. And he is going to go ahead and roll 2d6 for this.
It's an 11. 6 and a 5, yeah.
Okay. Oh, you got an 11. Okay, very cool. Joe puts almost all the energy from your ship into the actual thrusters itself. And although the thing has almost the entire ship, can't fully fit the whole ship in its mouth, luckily because of the shield. But there is enough pressure that you're able to, that Joe's able to revert into the thrusters, that you are actually physically pushing this thing back. You're not fully in the clear yet to be able to get out of here, but you can see that you're definitely making some headway. So definitely a technical success there. Which is going to bring us to, you notice that the elevator doors open as you're trying to frantically kind of look around for some sort of escape route here. And you see two very familiar figures. You see Cascade and Grex coming out of the elevator. And they see this monster, they pause for a moment, and then you see that Cascade is actually going to run towards your ship. And she is going to jump up onto one of the side panels of your ship, just kind of grabbing hold, and it's going to start banging on the door, saying, "Let me in! Let me in!"
Okay.
That's going to be her turn. Grexus, your good friend here, Grexus is going to also run up towards the ship, and he's kind of lumbering a little bit more. He's a bit older.
Lord, he coming.
Lord, he coming. Here comes Grexus. Instead of running towards your ship necessarily, he's actually veering off a little as a straight shot to this monster. And you see that his eyes, which are normally just like a regular kind of yellowish green color, start glowing. And they start glowing brighter and brighter and brighter until they go to a lime green, to a neon green, to an almost neon white, as he shoots two lasers from his eyes into the side of the monster.
All right, cool. Things you should probably know about your friends, guys. Just, oh, hey, I can shoot lasers out of my eyes. Don't mess with Grex.
Don't mess with Grex. You don't want to do that. And it does hit the side of the monster, and it doesn't seem too phased by it. Not really a super heavy hit, but you do see a little spot where it's been burned by his laser eyes. All right, very cool. That's going to bring us to top of the round, which is just Roderick. He's just,
he's sitting
pressed
there.
up. Actually, you know what? Let's see if he actually lets Cascade in.
If it helps, if I have it or could do it, I'd be like, let her in!
Sure, absolutely. He is going to make another... Nope, we'll do it on your turn. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he's going to go over and he's going to open the door, and Cascade is going to slip through, and he's going to very quickly shut the door. Which brings us to the monster's turn. It is not able to really bite through this shield, so it is going to turn on Grexus. He's going to try to do a bite. But no, he swings his head over to try to basically engulf him into his jaws. As old as Grexus is, he very nimbly and almost like a reflex just tuck and rolls out of the way. He's very dexterous, surprisingly, for his old age. That is really going to be just the monster's turn, though. He missed that. So it's Alec. What would you like to do?
Return to Cascade. Hey, Cascade, do you think we can get out of here? Is Grexus going to be okay? Should we just keep going? What do you think? Should we try to fight it?
She goes, I don't know, but those things are pretty cool. And she points towards the blasters. And she does put a hand on your shoulder. And as she's kind of pointing out towards the blasters, the monster does this crazy scream again. Not nearly as loud as it did before, so not necessarily causing damage, just more out of almost like animalistic frustration at not being able to get to Grexus. And you can feel Cascade like tense up out of fear, and then you feel a slight shock from her hand, and it just ripples through your body. And a light from your wrist appears that had not appeared previously. The completely inert and seemingly unfunctioning watch, the little square face on your wrist, suddenly starts glowing and turns on for the first time from your known memory. But I don't think she fully realizes what she did. So it is technically your turn. What would you like to do?
So with my watch activated, do I know what to do with it? Do I get any kind of like signal that I could activate anything along those lines?
Why don't you make...
Like what would be like an insight or... So maybe like an intelligence or a wisdom?
I would say make an intelligence check. It's for all of our... watchers out there. We are not doing actual skill checks. They are purely the stat-based type.
So it's 5 and a 2 on the dice, plus my intelligence would give me 9. So 5, 2 plus 2.
Okay. You don't necessarily know exactly what this is, but you do feel almost like something is... almost like two wires that have never fully connected suddenly spark together. But what you still don't fully understand what this is or what it actually means for you. But you do notice that Joe suddenly goes from that red glow to a almost purple glow and says, "Connection activated." Take that for what it will.
She pointed to the guns, meaning
yes.
She probably wants to try to shoot this thing. But we wouldn't be able to get to those unless we got out of the ship, correct? All right.
But the monster currently is also not focused on you right now, so completely up to you.
Okay.
What you would like to do.
Cascade, do you think we could get to those guns?
Yeah, if we run fast enough.
Let's go!
All right!
So we'll open the door.
Okay.
Actually, what I would do, I would grab Joe, boop, take him out, take him with me, open the door, and bolt out.
Okay, sure.
And I will look back to Roderick and say, "Stay safe, friend."
He has a look of absolute horror on his face as you leave the navigation panel and just abandon ship pretty much. He is absolutely horrified. All right, so you start making your way. You would only be able to get your full movement. You wouldn't be able to dash there technically because of all the other stuff that happened, but you're definitely making your way. Cascade is... Which one are you going to go to? The one that's technically closest to you or the one on the other side of the garage?
Which way is Cascade going?
She's going to go whichever way you go.
Okay, I'll go to the one closest and have Cascade go the other way so I can do cover fire, basically. So I'll get to mine and shoot as much as possible to try to draw the attention away.
Okay,
and get her to that one.
So you make a beeline for that blaster. Cascade's going to go the other way as she kind of passes.
Way. Right, beeline is I'm kidding. Hi, guys.
As Cascade is running towards the other one, she's actually going to hold her hand out towards this monster, and you see a streak of green lightning jump from her hand onto the monster. She's going to try to attack. Deep, 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 deep. Yeah, that will hit.
Nice.
So it does just a little bit of lightning damage. Not a ton, but there you go. The monster doesn't even seem to even feel it or acknowledge it, really. But you guys bolt towards those blasters, mega blasters. Brings us to Grex's turn. He's going to try to do laser eyes again. Oh, that one does not hit, though. He keeps trying to duck and roll and get out of the way of this thing as it's thrashing about. Which brings us to top of the round. You see Roderick run out of the actual ship, and he's just clutching this briefcase as tightly as he can to it, and is keeping his back towards the monster, and is trying to slink in between the ships to try to follow you towards this blaster. That's really his move, which goes towards the monster.
Oh no.
Who is going to...
Bye, Roderick.
He is going to... Let's see if he figures this out.
His name is Flash, so maybe he's just super quick. Or is he like Flash Gold? Flash!
You see that the monster is frantically like swapping his head back and forth, and he is actually going to open his mouth. You see that all the sets of teeth start rotating, and he is going to, or it is going to burrow underneath the garage itself, and you hear the sound of scraping metal, horrible, terrible sound that's echoing through this garage as it eats its way through the metal floor and burrows underneath. And it seems to disappear for the moment.
Glad I got out of the ship to go run towards a gun just for it to disappear. Thanks for that.
Alec, it is your turn. You haven't made it to the blaster just yet.
Cascade, Grex, we just want to go? Like, he left.
Cascade goes, what about everyone else here? She's still running towards the blaster.
All right, I'll just keep running towards the blaster and get into the one that's closest to me.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you make it up towards the actual blaster, you're able to climb up, and there's that kind of a pilot seat for this blaster here. You can see that there's a control panel, and there's very similar to how you navigate your ship. There's the actual steering wheel of it, I guess you could call it, be able to control the area of it. And there are two settings on here once you take a look at it. There is, you can see that it's called an automatic spray blaster.
Oh.
So what you can do...
Spray and pray.
Pretty much. So there's two different settings. It's either a cone setting or a line setting.
Interesting.
So just for your own knowledge for this, you can choose to either fire at a 30-foot cone or a 50-foot line.
Interesting.
For that.
I'd probably, at least starting out, go for the line, just because I don't want to go in a cone and get, people that...
Sure.
I don't want to get Grex in there or anybody else that's in there, so I'd probably set it to the line. Is there a spot for Joe to go in this, or is it strictly just like...
There does not look to be.
Okay.
It looks like it's purely a manual
So I
process.
still have Joe with me.
Which you kind of think about it for a moment, and you're like, really, Tony? You couldn't, put in the extra money to have this just be an automatic thing,
Right.
Connected to the system instead of being manual, but whatever. At least they're here. So you pretty much just kind of ready yourself. Are you, trying to fire at all, or are you readying your action?
I would, get ready. I would hold my action until he comes back, and the second he comes back, I'm going to just open up fire on Wormfriend.
Okay, very cool.
Big worm.
Cascade barely makes it to the other blaster, but she's able to jump into the pilot seat there. Which brings us to Grex, who, looking about, doesn't see the monster anymore, but looks underneath the hole that it has burrowed through, and shouts, "Oh, he's Russian, isn't he?"
Yep. Here we go, everybody.
I don't need this kind of pressure. The way that he's going to say this is not even going to be able to tell that it's Russian, but...
There you go.
I can see him here.
That's not bad.
Listen, y'all, I'm doing my best. So Grex is just going to... you know what? He's going to climb on top of one of the ships.
Okay.
Just in case this is like a Tremors situation, I guess.
Oh, point of note, I would have kept my blaster with me as well.
Oh, yeah, I assumed.
But just,
I assumed. Top of the round, which is Roderick, he's going to make it to the blaster with you, and he is going to squeeze himself behind you, between the wall and the actual blaster itself. and is keeping like his briefcase thing, the really tall thing, directly behind his body, trying to almost like hide it behind himself. And he's just frantically looking at you like, you gotta kill this thing!
Well, once it comes back, we'll open fire. Hopefully whatever you have in that case is really worth all of this trouble, friend.
He goes, don't worry about that!
Well, I'm worried about my life and my friend's life. But, it's all in a day's work.
Speaking of the monster, you do hear that grinding metal again, and it does pop up further on the other side of this garage, actually more towards where the exit is. And it's looking around, but you had held your action. Cascade did as well. So, and you chose the 50-foot line, right?
I did.
Okay, very cool. It is within range. So what I'm going to need you to do, actually, I'm going to roll a dex save.
Okay.
And what I need you to do is roll 6d6 for your laser. Big old fail for the monster.
And a 9, so it's only 17. So it was a 9 and a 8.
For your 6d6?
Mm-hmm. So I rolled 2d6 twice. 6. Oh, I need 2 more.
6.
I can count. All right. Plus another 9. So it was what? What did I say?
I don't remember.
It was 18 plus 9, so we'll say 27.
Sure. 27.
We'll watch the video later and yell at it. We'll edit it. Don't worry, guys. We'll fix it in post. No, we're not going to edit it. I'll just put in the bottom that what the actual math should have been, but whatever.
All right. Oof, that was up. So, you tell me how this looks. It's not dead.
Sure.
But it is in rough shape.
Awesome.
So go ahead and tell me how this looks with Alec using this automatic blaster.
So Alec, not knowing really what he's doing, he just kind of grabs it and can't really say like express emotions, but if he could, there would be a giant smile on his face. His eyes, although yellow, they brighten ever so slightly just from the sheer excitement. Just and trying his best to just hold on to this thing as it's like, and I would imagine it's hitting the monster or the worm, the monster. And just splattering all around while he's a little terrified at the sight of this, also super excited because he never gets this level of excitement in his life at all. It's always just been work, sleep, and this is like the first time he's gotten to do stuff. This is the first day he had toast, and now he's shooting a monster? Are you kidding? This is like, this is excitement right here. But yeah, he's having the time of his life.
And indeed he does, as the constant spray of these laser bolts coming through from this blaster just carves out a line from this creature. And Cascade is going to do the same thing. Yeah.
So I would imagine it's, again, he was pointing and it probably kind of like makes like a curve. You can't hold it straight, so it's, but he's having a great time. Watching, and then Cascade's going to do the same thing, hopefully.
And you can see that it definitely connects and carves out a huge chunk. Some of the fins are just sliced off completely. You can see this weird, almost like lime green blood that is just kind of oozing and pouring out of this creature as it is screaming in pain. It's still alive, though. But that was Cascade's turn, so now it's going to be Grex's turn. He's going to chase after, he's just going to book it towards your direction. There's really not much else that he can do.
His little laser eyes can't do much.
So he's, you know what, we're actually going to do this. Nope, absolutely not. Okay, so he's just running towards you guys because there's not a whole lot else that he can do. Which brings us to top of the round, which is Roderick. He's not going to do anything except for cry against the wall. Which brings us to the monster's turn, who's going to do another scream. So please make a wisdom saving throw.
That's a 7. I think it's only a +1. I think it's only an 8 total.
8 total?
Actually, it might be 9. Hold on 1 second. Come on. So wisdom is a +1, so it is only an 8.
It's an 8. That's still a mixed success. Okay, so you're going to take half damage from this, and so is the rest of the gang, which is lucky for you. So it would be 3 damage. We're going to have it to 1.
Oh, okay. Also, still with 5. Half health, everybody.
Half. You can definitely see everyone else covering their ears, but they seem shaken, but not nearly as
But
bad.
not stirred?
Yep, shaken, not stirred, correct? That is what a mixed success is. Shaken, not stirred. Sure, absolutely. So that is its turn, which actually brings us back to your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm just still wailing away at it.
All right. It will make another dex save. Oh, it does make the save, so it'll take half damage.
Okay, we're still rolling
so roll your
66.
66.
So 10, 4, 14 plus 4. Jeez, only 18 damage.
18 damage, that is more than enough to eviscerate this thing. Go ahead and tell me how you do it.
Absolutely. So he's just, again, having the time of his life. Can't really control it as much as he'd like to, but he's just, and I imagine he finally gets it like carved up to where like the head would be, just concentrating on that, trying to hold it as steady as possible, and eventually they just, and you watch as the green slime splatters all over the place, probably covers the floor. It's going to hit anybody that's in the radius. Cascade, Grexis, they're all covered in slime. I'm thinking Nickelodeon.
I was literally going to say, it is the Kids' Choice Awards
exactly,
up in here.
just he probably gets some on himself, and he's just like, ugh, but I'm going to have to change my shirt, I guess.
Yeah, that's what he's most concerned
Yeah, that's
about,
his most concerned part there. But after that, I mean, if he kills the monster, we'll see where it goes, but get out and go check on Grex and everybody else.
Yep, so you officially have destroyed this thing. Its lifeless body just kind of oozing onto the floor of the garage towards the exit, but we are officially out of combat.
Okay. So first of all, he'd probably turn around and go, "Hi, friend. So it seemed that worm was very interested in what you have. What is that you've got there?"
Listen, it's none of your concern what is within inside this briefcase, and you see immediately his entire form gets lifted up into the air and slammed against the wall as Grexis grabs him by the suit collar and slams him up and says, "Open it."
Oh.
He goes, okay. And he lets him down, and he opens up, and this briefcase, if you recall, was almost like a very rectangular guitar case in terms of the actual size of it. It was very rectangular, but still had like that briefcase look to it. He puts in 3 different codes to unlock the actual case itself. And when it opens, a little bit of kind of misty smoke comes out of it, and you realize that instead of an actual briefcase, it's more of a containment system, as inside in a tube there looks to be a much smaller version of this alien creature that is inside this briefcase.
So, friend, is that the child of the thing that just attacked us?
I mean, yes, I guess. We're not 100% sure. We don't know what this creature actually is. Maybe it's its spawn. It probably is. But yes, that is what it boils down to.
Okay, then. And we're trying to get this somewhere?
I'm trying to get it back to my research facility. I'm part of the Gattervale Defense Research and Recovery Facility. These creatures, they're new. We've never found anything like this before. This is a whole new being that you don't understand. It can survive in space. It lives out there. It's able to just travel without any repercussions to its system. It thrives out in space.
But does that mean it's going to keep coming after you, even if we go in space? Because then you're not safe. And if you're not safe, I'm not safe.
This is, as far as I know, the only one that was following me.
But you knew it was following you.
No.
Whatever version of an insight check that would be.
Go ahead.
Is that just intelligence then?
It would be intelligence.
Jesus Christ. Well, it was a 3.
I would give you advantage on this.
Okay, so it's only a 5 on the first roll. Not any better. 2 plus 2, apparently. So 4 or 5.
Still technically a fail, so you're not 100% sure. You can't tell if he's just really shaken up by it.
I feel like it's one of those things that, like, if it's so new and rare, that he may honestly believe it is the only one that's out there.
Sure.
So he's saying yes. Alec may believe that he believes that there is only one of them.
Yep.
But there's still a very strong possibility out there that there could be more. Mm-hmm. But whether that is actually the truth or not, nobody really knows. Does that sound okay for a failure, mostly? Because like he knows that there's probably more out there, but nobody could prove it.
And Roderick would continue in his explanation, saying, we were only able to find this one, and we were lucky enough to be able to find an egg that it had. Unfortunately, it happened to hatch on the way I was coming back from where we found it, and that's when it started following me. I thought that, getting on the transport ship over to Larsalos, I thought that we could lose it because we go through hyperspace. But it followed us. It matched our speed. I could see it following me the entire time. I think it's the only one. It's the only one we've ever really seen that close anyway. And so I'm trying to just bring this back to our research facility so that we can understand the species and be able to protect ourselves. You saw what it could do. It could eat through metal. It ate through everything.
Which means it could eat through me, which isn't very exciting to me. Do we want to grab some of maybe its blood and or teeth or any of these other bits, and we could all take it to your research lab? Maybe that would help you.
Listen, I'm more than happy for you to assist me in gathering some of these other materials. It will certainly be of great help, but once I'm going to wait for the bus now that we know that this is taken care of, and I will go to the research facility. No one else is able to trespass there.
Well, honestly, I think I would rather take you, just so if there is another one out there and you're on a bus and it attacks a bus full of people, you're not putting civilians or innocent people's lives in danger.
At this point, you hear the ding of the elevator on the other side of the garage, and you see Tony Ribbits waddling his way out here. Hey, what's going on here?
It's like I'm in Brooklyn, everyone. Tony, that was exciting. This purple worm thing came out, but I mean, we did end up getting it.
Exciting is not the word that I would use for this situation.
Let me guess, you would probably say expensive.
Indeed it is, and that is something that I need to talk to everyone about. 5 minutes. Go meet upstairs in the main lobby.
Well, Tony, I'm gonna finish my route here with this nice fella and get him to his research lab.
He's going to be taking the bus and never show his face through here ever again. And Roderick's just like nodding and it's like,
Okay, friend, well, stay safe, I guess, and don't put other people's lives in danger.
I apologize greatly for all of this. Please, if there's anything else that I can do to kind of make it up to you, and Tony says, well, this is going to be quite an expensive little, repair work that we've got to do on this entire station that we have here. So, really, any kind of compensation, I will definitely be billing you and the research facility. And he goes, Roderick, Lordy, I just forgot. My brain stopped working for like 5 whole seconds. Yes, of course, absolutely. Just, understand that we only have a limited amount of funds that we are trying to work with, bare minimum here. But yes, of course, whatever we can help with.
Well, if your research pans out and you make this awesome discovery, then maybe you could, make sure that we're told about it and that any part of your profits that you gain from this, you could put back towards the Astral Transport Company.
I can certainly try. So Tony just kind of nods his head and, throws his hand up to tell him to go back upstairs to wait for the bus. But he looks at the rest of you says, y'all all right? Doing okay?
Well, I seem to be not doing so well. The thing was very
Aspects of you
loud.
start sparking up.
But Grexus was really cool. He shot lasers out of his eyes.
And Tony kind of like smiles a little bit and like kind of nods in Grexus's direction. He goes, hey, you got the old eyes still working? Still got that 20/20 vision? And Grexus just grunts. Yeah, so Tony takes Roderick back up towards the main lobby for him to wait for his bus. And do you all follow back up to the main lobby?
Yeah, I guess he said we'd be there in 5 minutes. I don't know what any kind of like repairs or anything I could do to myself to try to what would count as a short rest or anything along those lines during that time, but it's only 5 minutes, so short rest probably wouldn't work. I would want to take out Joe and see if I could figure anything out with the new connection that came through as far as is there anything new on his system? Like, is there an upgrade, a new app, anything cool like that on there that I may see, or anything that may have awoken in me? Try to figure any of that out. Just as a quick diagnostic scan. I think could be a good way to put that.
Oh, okay, sure. So you check out Joe, and he looks pretty much the same from everything that you've seen before. But scrolling through, you do actually see a brand new app that is located on his main home screen, I suppose. And it's very odd because it does actually have almost like a picture of a skull, a little bit, with 2 red eyes, and the app name is called Alec.
Hey, that's my name. So
How about that?
How about that, guys? So I only have, you said 5 minutes before the meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
I would want to try to go to Betty.
Okay.
Go to my living quarters. Basically find somewhere private, and that's probably the most private place he would think of. It would be in the ship, in his living quarters, and then as it's been such an exciting day already, and he's tried so many new things, he's got to try this new thing too. I mean, it's a new button. Who doesn't love buttons? I love buttons. You gotta push the button. Come on. So that's what he wants to do, is he wants to go push the button, but he wants to do it in private just in case anything bad happens.
Are you talking about your watch?
No, the button on Joe, the new app.
Oh, the
button.
actual app itself. I understand. Yeah, so you go ahead and tap the app.
Well, again, back in Betty, in the private quarters, and then
Understood.
tap the app.
Understood. Before you leave, Cascade just kind of puts a hand on you and goes, you okay? You doing all right?
Well, I'm a little hurt, but I think I'll be okay. I can do some repairs back in the ship, I think. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
Well, you did some cool lightning stuff, too. That was pretty neat.
Oh, yeah, it's just something that I can do. And she kind of holds up her hands, and very tiny little sparks kind of go between her fingers.
Well, I don't have any special powers like that. All I've got is this little blaster guy. I don't know.
You did good. You did great today.
Hey, at least we had those defense systems. That was pretty fun.
Didn't know we had those.
I didn't either. Also, Cascade, I had toast.
Did you have toast?
I had toast today, but I'm going to go back to the ship real quick, and I'll tell you all about the toast after the meeting.
I was going to say, we have things to talk about, I guess. That's very exciting.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you up there, okay?
Okay, I'll see you there.
All right. And she and Grexus go up towards the main lobby. Grexus just kind of gives you like a nod as he's going up. Yeah, so you go into the ship, close the door, go into your little living quarters, which is a super cramped little like 2x2 area. Mostly it's just kind of a chair and a plug where you can kind of plug yourself in. Like, that's pretty much it. Some kind of knickknacks that you found along your travels, and you go ahead and you open up Joe, and you go ahead and tap on the app. And as you tap on it, it opens up into what looks like almost what would kind of be like a medical diagnosis kind of screen, where it shows a humanoid figure, no details to it, just kind of like an outline. But you'll notice that certain parts are currently highlighted in red and have little flashing red dots on those areas. And
injured parts.
Yeah, so looking at that and looking at where you're sparking on your body, they correlate specifically to those. There does seem to be 3 different what look like empty app icons, so it's just like the little kind of like rounded square, almost like they should be buttons, but they're currently grayed out. They're not currently accessible, it looks like. But it does have the actual, what looks like a diagnostic system of yourself, and it does actually show 50%, what would you call it? Health? Not really health,
bar,
but...
power, I guess?
50% power, let's go with that. Yep.
And touching on those things, it doesn't really like do anything or like open up a diagnostic or repair kit or anything like that.
So tapping on each of the flashing red buttons, a little window does pop up explaining what the issue is. So for one of them, it's, shorted wire. For the other one is, break in skeleton.
Sure.
And you can point that exactly to where you can see that there's like a slight dent in.
Part is, yeah,
exactly.
Gotcha.
Ecoskeleton was the word I was looking for.
Exoskeleton.
Exoskeleton, but I could only think of the skeleton part.
Yep.
So that's basically, it's an exact diagnostic of your current situation.
Okay, cool. Well, at least I know what's wrong with me. And then I would take a look at the watch and see if there's anything in there too.
Okay, sure.
Just a quick, look at it.
Sure, absolutely. So right now, looking at your watch, the only thing that is showing up on it looks like a app exactly the same as the one that's on Joe. It has the exact same logo and it says Alec on it. If you tap on it, it seems to just give you the actual statistics, not the specific areas. It doesn't have enough space on the watch to actually show that, but it does say 50%. I've already
Power.
Lord, listen, y'all. 2021, I'm doing my best.
So 50% power, not much I can really do now, so just head back up to the meeting.
Okay.
If there was anything I could do quickly, I don't know.
Not within a 5-minute time frame.
Yeah, or I guess less than that, because I got to get out and then back up to the stairs. So
all
that happens within a couple of minutes, head back up, and then to the meeting. Still sparking a little bit, so I would change my shirt or, hat, clothes. Probably only has like 1 or 2 of those, so he's going to be a little sad that he's probably going to have to get rid of this one set of clothes because he probably only has 2. I mean, he doesn't have body odor or anything, so yeah,
pretty much. All right, you exit Betty, you leave the garage and go up the elevator towards the main lobby. You see a number of people are there. It doesn't look like anyone's overly injured. It looks like most of the damage is really just to the actual location itself. You see that there are a bunch of where the waiting area was for most patrons, that a bunch of the seats have been ripped out of the floor. Part of the wall has been knocked out. There's just rubble everywhere. And there's several areas where there's just no lights, like the power has just completely gone out there. You see in one corner and sitting in one of the seats, just surrounded by rubble in almost complete darkness, is just Roderick there hugging his briefcase, waiting for his bus, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. But everyone's gathered in front of the main office of Tony's office, exactly like you did that morning, which seems so far away now that you think about it. But Tony kind of addresses everyone standing on top of the stairs with his digital clipboard, as always. All right, things got a little crazy, but luckily we're all in good health. We can at least thank the powers that be for that. Here's what's going on. We've lost power to about half of our station. We've also lost several different vehicles. Some of you are not going to have any in order to continue with your routes. Now, I'm not letting anybody go. We're not cutting any pay, but the hours are going to be limited. Mostly because the more people we bring in, the more mess they see, and then they start telling their friends, and then we get bad reviews. I'm not having any of that. So, what I'm gonna do, I gotta bring my nephew in. He's going to survey the damages. I'm gonna get a list of things that we need, all the repairs that we're gonna have to, get sorted out in order to get this place up and running. What you all can do, go hang out somewhere for a couple hours. Nephew's on his way, and we're gonna go over what we're gonna do next, what our next steps are. But for now, we're gonna call it a night. Cascade kind of raises her hand and says, I know a bar that's really close by. We could all, hang out there. I think we could all use a drink. But yeah, we can wait there for you. And he goes, great, perfect. You go to whatever bar it is, I'll meet you there, and I'll update you on the situation in just a couple hours. But till then, you get the next day or so off until we try to figure this out. And he looks very unhappy about this situation. He goes, dismissed. Don't forget to clock out. And he goes back into his office.
I would pull out Joe and make sure to clock out.
Everyone does immediately. They all take out their HUDs and they go and clock out of their system. You see a couple of them are like waiting like that extra minute just to get that full hour in.
Like you do.
Not me at all. But yeah, so he dismisses you all, and Cascade says, just in Vesta Sol, there's a really great bar called the Two-Tone Tap.
Oh.
I go there all the time. They've got really great drinks. They've got great food. They have okay food. They have decent food.
Yeah.
It's edible.
It's a bar. Well, I can't eat food anyway, so hey. Although I did have toast. That was fun. But I need some repairs. I don't know if anybody could help me with that, maybe at the bar, or what we could do for that.
Grexus actually kind of grunts and says, I look you over.
Oh, thank you. Any help you could provide would be great.
All right, so everyone kind of piles into some of the vehicles that are still in good standing. So a few of them pile into your car. You don't have too much space. You can carry about 6 people at the most. There's really only about 15 individuals total.
Is Cascade's ship okay?
Cascade's ship is good, yes.
Okay.
Because she had actually arrived after, because if you remember when you first arrived, she had not arrived just yet, so she was able to avoid the issue areas. So she's able to take a whole bunch of people. Grexus can take a handful of people. And you all head out of the Astral Transport Company headquarters, or ship system station. There we go.
There it is.
There's a lot of S words in this space adventure. And you all head down towards Vesta Sol, the closest that you can get. So it's not quite in the busiest area, so you don't have to worry about trying to navigate through traffic or people trying to hail a cab. But you're able to kind of sneak over into that parking area, and you go into the Two-Tone Tap, which is this very tall, very cylindrical looking building. Definitely getting the name from the 2 tones that it seems to be keeping its theme on. You can see that the actual building itself has a diagonal slash through the cylinder, the very top being a bright pink color and the very bottom being a bright blue color. There you go right into the bar. They have to push a bunch of tables and seats together in order to
How many people?
fit 15 people on very short notice, especially this late at night. But because it is that late, there aren't actually a ton of people that are there. So after a few minutes, they're able to accommodate your big group. And you all take a seat, take a moment to kind of understand what has happened, kind of, process that. Everyone's just kind of murmuring and talking about rumors about what happened, because not all of them saw the monster, so they're, making their own claims, their own thoughts about...
It's this big.
Yep.
No, it's this big.
I fought 4 of them at once.
Yeah. It had 27 eyes and 80 million teeth. It was acidic. No, it wasn't.
As you're all talking and just kind of, swapping your stories for the day, Grexus is just kind of taking a look at you. He takes out, despite him claiming that he does have 20/20 vision, he takes out tiny little spectacles that he puts on his little wolf
grandpa
muzzle.
Glasses. They're like the little half spectacles,
Yeah,
just
they
slide
are.
halfway down the nose.
They
Yeah.
are 100%.
I gotta get my reading glasses out.
Yep. And he just kind of takes a look at you. Just kind of occasionally grunts as he's, processing what's going on with you. He's not able to fully repair you necessarily.
Sure.
Yeah, you gain back 1.
One
hit
solid.
Listen, you're all in a bar. He doesn't necessarily have the tools to fully repair you, but he gives you back 1 hit point. He's looking over you and then eventually goes, I don't know, and then goes back to his drink.
Well, thanks, Grexus. Thank you for doing what you can.
And yeah, so what do y'all talk about while you're waiting for Tony to get back to you?
It's really just hanging out. I would tell Cascade about my day and the place. If she had ever heard of Marcy's Playground or had ever been.
She genuinely has not. And goes, no, I've never heard. Where was this?
Oh, I don't know. It was just in a weird place. They couldn't even tell me where it was. I put it into Joe, and he took us there, and then I had to go through a crawl space, and then up a thing, and around the thing, and then the dumpsters moved, and then I got out and went into an elevator, and it was probably the first time she's ever heard Alec talk, so excitedly and quickly that a little off-putting. It was just like, I didn't know he could emote in this manner, really. But yeah, he's recounts that, tells her how he tried to eat the USB drive first. It was like crunching, and gets her to laugh and giggle, and just has a good time. And then he would walk around, to anyone else and just kind of listen to their stories or gossip. Try to correct them of, no, it wasn't 87 feet tall. No, it wasn't acidic. No, it didn't say somebody's name, and no, it didn't eat the entire station.
It's like, you were there. Why do you think that it consumed the whole thing?
Like, I don't, no, things are still there. Like, it's, no, it didn't eat Joe. It did not eat, it's not a god. It's not, so all these kinds of things.
Sure. While you're making your rounds, why don't you make a wisdom check?
Ruh-roh.
It's just a check, not a saving throw.
So it's a 4 and a 4 plus 1, so that'll be a total of 9.
Okay, sure. As you're kind of, going around and, sharing stories, your own experiences, correcting those that are wildly inaccurate, because everyone must be accurate in their recounting of this story, you hear a couple of people that are, a couple of other coworkers that are, discussing the events and everything, and you hear that they're like, this is the start of the end. This is, what they predicted. This is what was going to happen, in the new millennia, and that's what you overhear.
It's basically what Alec would think of it as just like, it's rumors, kind of like, to put it in real people terms, like Y2K and all the ships are going to fall out of the sky, and she's just like, the world's going to end in 2012, and like, all right, cool.
That is exactly what it is, and it has been excessively more apparent in these last couple months, because you are about 3 months out from the not only new year but new millennia as well.
Well, this is year 9999.
Exactly. And all of the, rumors and speculation of what that actually means has definitely become way more rampant than it has in any other previous year. So not 100% surprising, but you do happen to overhear it.
Yeah, he would hear it, and he would probably just shake it off as like, all right, cool.
You've heard it plenty of times, especially in, your line of business with taxi cabs and ferrying people back and forth. Everyone's always kind of having fun speculating what's going to happen. So you all just kind of take some time, try to calm yourselves down. Everyone's just kind of got that nervous energy hype from the whole thing. A few people do kind of start wondering as, the hours kind of go by. It's only been a couple hours, but people start getting a little more somber as the drinks are starting to be had a little bit more, and realizing, are we going to be able to afford to get back into business? Are they going to have to start letting people go after some time? If they're cutting hours, how am I going to afford to live? Oof, just that got a little too realistic for me. Oops. But yeah, just kind of a little bit more somber, revelations. But then you hear the door to the bar open again, and you see that Tony is there with his nephew, Nestor. So his nephew, Nestor Fibbins, who is a lavender color trog, He's got short blue and gray spines that curve down either side of his face, almost like a
middle part,
almost like a bowl cut a little
Yeah.
bit. Has bright blue eyes and always has a kind of a nervous smile on his face. Much shorter than his uncle Tony. He goes by Fibbins to most people, but he's not a huge fan of his name. But they both walk into the actual bar itself. They find you guys very easily because you're pretty much at this point the only patrons, because at this point it's about midnight. But he comes over to the table to everyone. He's, all right, so here's the situation. Let me grab the situation from my digital clipboard. Sorry, give me a moment. It's been a day. All right. Obviously, the most important thing is to get the Astral Transport Company back up and running as quickly as possible. As everyone knows, we're just a few months out from the new millennium, and this is going to be the big one. We have to make sure everything is good to go because everyone's going to be going to Vesta Sol for the New Year's celebrations. We're going to have a ton of Lord, you know the words.
So close.
So close.
Got it in one.
We're going to have
Brooklyn accent, take 2.
a ton of It's not even the accent, it's just the words at this point. They're not coming through to the brain. There's a short circuit happening back
The
there.
new millennia.
It's the new millennia.
It's our space ghost interfering with
The
brains.
space ghost they're possessing. We're going to have definitely a lot more traffic than we've ever had before. We're going to have, requests. People are already starting to try to book to get, direct transport there and back. We have to make sure that we are on time. That being said, we've got some things that I may need some assistance in retrieving in order to get things, going, put things in motion here. So, since everyone's shifts are going to be a little bit shorter, congratulations, you all have more free time. However, if you would like, I could use some assistance in the transport of some of these items. There's also the possibility, listen, I'm not trying to be sketchy and go off book here, but if you wanted to do extra shifts, even though I cannot pay you for the time, if you're able to find it within your heart to go and do a little bit extra work to bring back some extra money for this, I can pay for all of the labor costs that are going to come into it, but the faster we get that money, because it's going to take me some time, the faster we get the money, the faster we're up and running, and the better we're going to be prepared for the new year. So I do have a list, if anyone is interested, to be able to go and transport these items for me. Also, if there's... yes, Alec.
Just always happy to help. Anything I can do.
I know I can always count on you, Alec. There's also the option. Listen, I'm just your boss. I'm not trying to sway you one way or another. But I hear there's good money to be made on Callisto Catalog. The Craigslist for those at home. There's a lot of different jobs that can be offered. If you can make a little extra dough, you can bring it over to me. I promise that there will be some good rewards in it for anyone who wants to put in the extra effort to get us up and running again. We have 3 months. Technically less than 3 months. We want to be ready for it. So technically 2. We want to have that kind of month buffer there, if we can. Again, I can completely, definitely 100% fund this. It just is going to take a little bit of time. Is Alex shaking his head?
Yes. He would absolutely be like, he's lying.
If you want, you can do an intelligence check to see if he
I'll
can
do
actually
it.
afford it. Or if he's telling the truth, rather.
That's a double 6.
That's a critical success.
It's a double 6 with a +2 on an intelligence.
So as he's saying this, he looks so nervous about saying this, and so does Nestor as well. They both look incredibly nervous and uncomfortable whenever he says that he can definitely
totally
afford
afford
it.
this.
You definitely know that if he is able to afford it, he's dealing in some shady business in order to get that money. Which, by the way, figured out what the money name is going to be. So it's cipher chips.
Cipher chips.
CCs.
CCs.
Some good CCs. So he, pokes some things on his digital clipboard there, and everyone kind of gets a ding on their own little hub devices. I guess not really. They wouldn't have brought it into... Whatever, they all brought him in. They brought their hub systems
I would have brought
in.
Joe. Like, I always bring Joe. I don't want to leave him in the ship just for, like...
So you at least get the ding.
Yeah.
And on Joe, you're able to see just kind of like a shared document that has the list of what it is that he needs.
He's using Google Sheets, everybody. It's the free version.
It's the free version. It's garbage, and no one can edit anything, and it doesn't even show up in the correct format.
Yeah. It's edited weird. The spaces aren't there. It's all crammed together, and you can tell like it was, 100%.
Yep. So you're able to get the list. He goes, all right, that's all I wanted to say. Again, we're not laying anybody off. Everyone still gets their normal pay, just not the normal hours. I will send up an updated shifts list tomorrow when I can fully understand and process what is happening here. But anyway, I thank you in advance for any help that you are going to offer in these trying times. And he kind of like makes direct eye contact with a few of the other coworkers just to kind of like grab them in. But a few of them just kind of look down at their drinks and kind of look away. He goes, all right, well, everyone stay safe. Enjoy your night. If you need anything, you just... Well, don't call me tonight. I need a drink, but not here. And he bids you all a good night. His nephew Nestor just kind of waves nervously at everyone and awkwardly doesn't know how to leave and just kind of backs away from everything as he did not actually address anyone there. He's just very awkwardly standing there. And he leaves the bar. What do you do?
So that would really be it. I would find, Cascade and Grexis first, just to be like, are you guys going to be okay? Like, is it something that you're going to be able to afford your living?
Cascade kind of like bites her lip a little bit and says, well, I mean, it's not ideal. I'll be okay. I've got some savings, but I could really get this up and running as quickly as possible. So I'm happy to try to help however I can. I mean, it kind of sucks to not get paid for, working regular hours, basically, and all those other fares going directly to Tony. But I understand. I want to get this up and running as quickly as possible so I can go back to regular pay. And Grexis just kind of, like, nods along and says, I will be fine. I am happy to help Tony. He is a good friend.
Okay, if you need anything, Cascade, you let me know. I don't really need the money, so I can always pick up extra shifts and just, I can lend you whatever you need. All right? Don't feel like it's wrong to ask.
And she gives you a big smile and says, well, I mean, if you've got the extra time, you should probably look at the Callisto catalog. I bet there's going to be some good things that you can do there, to earn a good chunk of cash there.
Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll make sure to donate right to Tony. And then I'd probably just kind of have that same conversation or a similar conversation, maybe not as detailed or express my life interest as deep with the other folks around, but just like, hey, are you going to be okay? Mm-hmm. If you need something, let me know. If, just to make sure there's nobody else out there that's going to have like a family going hungry that I feel like I could help or anything like that.
Go ahead and roll 2d6 plus charisma just to get a vibe check.
Be a 6, a 2, plus 2. So 8 plus 2 is 10 for my vibe check. How we vibing?
You vibing. So the general vibe is annoyed,
sure,
frustrated, but you don't really get the sense that anyone would be in drastic need for assistance necessarily. You do kind of talking around with people, note that a very small handful, maybe 2 or 3 people are thinking of they're probably going to start applying to other jobs just to kind of pick up the slack. But no one seems to be like, oh my god, my life is going to be over if I don't continue to make the money kind of thing.
All right. And then that's really it. We would just be, hanging out till people start going back, and then I would go back to my ship eventually once the crowds start dying down. And
sure.
If there's any repairs I could do, overnight. I don't know if it's just like a recharge or what, but Anything we could do there?
Sure. So just kind of chatting with the rest of the group, mainly Cascade and Grexis, of course. You kind of just talk back and forth about what like the plan is, what everyone else is able to contribute to this. You are the only one who really has their HUD with them. Sure. You have Joe, so they ask you to pull up the list to see what is needed for the repairs and everything. So in terms of supplies, there needs to be a pickup of processed metal on the Calsolas planet, specifically in the Bowledge Mining Canyon. There also needs to be a replacement of some of the ships that were destroyed, specifically 3 of them. Bless. Bless.
3 ship replacement. All right.
3 SNESes for 3 ships.
Okay.
And those can be picked up right here in Vesta Sol at the Gamma Vale hover lot for new and used vehicles. And then there's paneling that needs to be picked up on the planet. Nope, we're already on Falsola, so this planet. The Quality Enterprise renovations in Rookworth. Shop local. So those are at least the supplies specifically.
Sure.
In terms for the cost of labor, the full cost that Tony is going to need to shell out in order for this to be taken care of, you're a little surprised that he actually included the cost on there, and you're also not 100% sure if this is the only cost or just what he wanted everyone else to be able to see. But it's 10,000 cipher chips for the cost of labor and work.
10K CC. And to put that in perspective, what is that like what would equate to say $10,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're figuring.
I'm not trying to get too crazy up in here.
Right. So just like a fare normally, like if it was a normal fare, he'd probably make what, say $5 a share, a ride, right?
I would say more about 15 to $20 per shift, or per fare.
Per fare. Yeah.
It obviously depends on the amount of
length and travel and all that.
When it comes to, so that is all purely for if you're doing it within this planet. It's generally around 15 to 20 cipher chips. If you're going across planet, those are normally around the 100 to 150, depending on how far you got to go. But
sure thing.
So you guys just kind of look at the list. They kind of nod, and Cascade and Grex both offer, if you would like, in order to kind of divide and conquer, they do offer to take up one of those supply runs for you.
Yeah, if they're going to do that, I would want to do the one, I would probably go to Calsolas, the processed metal one.
Okay, sure.
And then let them stay closer in Rookworth, and then the 3 ship replacement. Although I guess the 3 ship replacement, well, I guess they would put them on a trailer or whatever.
Okay, you wouldn't have to tow it yourself. Yeah. It's basically going there to get the transaction, to do the transaction, everything while.
Yeah, it was more like, do all 3 of us need to go and drive a ship back kind of idea.
I gotcha.
But
with a new and used vehicles lot, quite possibly you're not 100% sure. That's fair. But yeah. Yeah,
so that's what I would say is, I would take on the Calsolas by myself, and then the 3 ship replacement we would probably go do as a group.
Okay.
Just in case we need to drive the ships back. Knowing Tony, he probably's not paying for any towing or any extras to get those ships.
That's
so
it's
going to be like, we're going to go there. They're going to be like, all right, here's the keys. Have fun. And we'll be like, all right, cool. So I figure that'll probably be a group project.
Okay. Cascade. Road trip. Cascade does offer to go get the paneling in Rookworth, just because she has the biggest amount of space to be able to house that. And the panels themselves it's basically like carpet squares.
Yeah.
Like she'll be able to actually truck that back and forth. So Cascade will do paneling. All right, and so you kind of divide and conquer that, and Cascade's a few drinks in at this point, and she goes, Alec, let's just look. Let's just look at Callisto catalog. Let's see what's going on there. Let's see if we can do something. See what you wanna, what jumps out at you.
Sure.
So you open. She has it on her phone. You probably would not have this app on your phone, but she has it. Callisto catalog. She opens up. So let's list. What are some jobs that are being offered? We can list 3.
On the Callisto catalog, which for those of you at home is like a Craigslist kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So probably not the most, straightforward of things. I imagine it's like probably just a pick this up and take it somewhere else kind of thing. Like pharmaceutical transport, which sounds like a drug deal, but hey, it's probably what it is. So I would imagine there's probably a bunch of those, but like very vague. Then I imagine there's some more like physical labor stuff, like a handyman, if you would. Like,
okay.
And again, not straightforward at all. Just more of a handyman needed for repairs. Doesn't say whether it's a ship, doesn't say where it's at, or I guess it would say where it's at, but like doesn't give you a lot of details kind of thing.
Okay.
And then I think anything else would just be like personal assistant work. Like I need somebody to go get my coffee in the morning, or I need, just somebody to talk to, if you would. So a couple of those.
Do a therapy one?
Yeah.
Therapy.
It would be listed as like needing like life assistance, right? But it's vague enough that it could be like a date or other things. But Alec reads it as like they just need a friend. They just need somebody to talk to. But since some of them are a little more explicit about what they say, but he reads some of them as they just need a friend.
Okay. So the pharmaceutical transport one. What is the monetary reward for that one, do you think?
Probably, so I would, again, imagine that there's a couple of different distances. I would say that they're not in the best locations, so they would probably range from at least 100 cc, probably all the way up to like 5 or even 6, depending on the location, the travel, and their destination. Knowing that it's a sketchy destination, they would probably have the higher, fares, if you will, reward.
And for the handyman one, what are they asking to get repaired?
I think it's anything from, manual labor on ships, manual labor in like, in their shop, or like a work kind of thing, like a farmhand, if you would. Like, I need somebody to do this under the table kind of thing. I think it would be along those lines, with the fares ranging probably lower or less, probably like 50 to 100 cc.
Okay.
With there being a lot more of those, like, pick up a bunch of different ones for more money.
All right. And then
like a day laborer, that's the word I was looking for. Come work on the farm for a day and I'll give you 50 cc.
And then the kind of someone to talk to kind of therapy life coach session. How much do you think that would range?
Again, depending on the depth of it, I think you're still looking probably like 200 cc and up, depending on how explicit they get and where they go. But he definitely doesn't look too deeply into the more explicit, if you will, adult versions. So
going through, you can actually, save certain jobs and move it to kind of like a bookmark section of it. As you're going through, you're like highlighting all the ones that seem interesting to you and cascade immediately uncheck several of those. So you feel fairly safe that you're not going to be going into anything super uncomfortable or extra shady, I suppose. But in terms of the actual jobs, which one, if you were going to be taking them, if you want to do any of those, which one would you consider doing first?
Definitely the ones that they just need a friend for.
Okay.
That would be something. I mean, he's not like, he could do some day labor stuff, but not overly technical on things. I mean, he does what he does. He's a driver, so probably the other ones would be the pharmaceutical transport. if we were to rank them, it would be friend, pharmaceutical transport, and then at the very bottom would be any kind of day labor.
Okay, very cool. So you have a few of those saved. You have those, to be set off for another day when you're going to start, tackling these kind of extra jobs and everything. You know that you have to wait until the morning anyway in order to get your updated schedule so you can see when you're actually free to take any of these different jobs. But after that, people start getting tired. It's been quite a long day. The excitement in the air kind of dies down a little bit. Grexus says goodnight to everyone. He leaves. Cascade drinks a whole bunch of water and she's good to go for her trip home. Gives everyone kind of like a hug, just saying, glad you're okay. We're in this together. We'll get through it.
Alec would be kind of doing the same thing. Maybe not a hug, but certainly like, just let me know if you need anything. If you need a place to stay, I've got plenty of room in my ship. If you need a couch to sleep on, kind of like a couch to sleep on. If you need a chair to sit in, I've got 6 of them. Plenty of room to sleep. I've got a whole cargo bay that you can just, lay down a bed. Kind of idea.
Very cool.
Especially to those that he knows that either lost a ship or are in more dire need.
Very cool. So you all kind of say goodnight, head back towards your own different ships. You go into Betty. Where are you going to go to dock your ship for the night? Because the garage doesn't seem like it's going to be a safe place to do so anymore, at least for tonight. So where are you going to...
Are there any, I would imagine that there's some sort of... So there's got to be like an RV lot is what I'm thinking of, in
absolutely.
real life, kind of like a parking lot where you could park and sleep, or like a truck stop where folks could go and rest, especially because, it's a big city. So it'd probably be something like that, and that's where he would go.
Okay, wonderful.
I would imagine he knows where some of those are throughout.
Super
Vestisol.
easy to find. You know exactly. You're able to just plug that into Joe, and he's able to direct you exactly where that is. Not very far off, so you're kind of on the outskirts of Vestisol, so it's a pretty easy ride over there. You kind of settle in, find a good spot for yourself, go into your little hovel, your little personal space.
My room.
Sit in your chair. You put Joe on his own, kind of stand him up. He's got like a little kickstand in the back. You put him up and you open up the app to see your diagnostics and everything. And you plug yourself in order to take a rest for the night. As you do, you notice that as you're just kind of watching the app, as you're keeping yourself plugged in, about to shut off for the night, you do see that percentage start to go up, as it does look like you are starting to auto-repair yourself.
Nice. Okay.
You shut yourself down for the night, and as you sleep, you don't see, because you're asleep, but we see, looking in, the app that Joe has, that is the new app that has Alex's name on it. As you are repairing yourself, once it gets to 100%, the actual body of the outline of yourself basically on this app, once it gets to 100%, the outline starts to glow, and one of the 3 buttons that were grayed out dings on, and you don't see, I'm just so used to saying that, but we see that the app itself has almost that exact same app icon that it did before of the skeletal head, but instead it has that head with the red glowing eyes, and an animation has a helmet that encompasses that skull, and the red glowing eyes glow through this shield or some sort of helmet-like structure, and that icon appears accessible now. And that's where we'll end this transmission.
Thanks everybody for watching episode 2. Stay tuned for episode 3 coming soon.
Bye!